There's Schriners all over the Midwest, across the country. I'm not talking about the ones with the fuzz hats and the green Chryslers. These are just real Schriners. I was born on a farm, the oldest of 5 living children. Kind of grew up in the drought years. Mother used to hang wet sheets in the south window and try to catch the dust from Kansas and Oklahoma. And once I graduated from high school, they let me go to Peru State. Nobody had any money. So I was just very fortunate to meet a Miss Schinbaum from Cumberland, Iowa, and she and I got together over a nickel Coke at a dance. And that's where I really made a lucky break. My first bride, 61 years. Once we got out of med school, then I went to the University of Indiana for a year. Came back to Children's. That's when I spent a year at Children's, and then a couple of years in Baltimore. When I came back to join Dr. Thomas in April of '54, well, it was a little bit different in that we made so many more house calls in those days. Dr. Thomas was very big on making home calls, but we also had a very busy office practice. But it was rather common to go to people's homes, and gave us a kind of an advantage with going to homes like that because you knew more about the home setting for the children.
We used to go on house calls with him. We used to ride in the car, and I can remember him with his flashlight looking for house numbers, and we'd sit in the car while he'd go in and see the patients.
When you talk about the whole family, went to the bar mitzvah. The pediatrician went to the christening. The pediatrician was there if it was a bris. I mean, it didn't matter. The pediatrician was part of the family. And I think that was Gil's greatest strength, is everybody kind of thought Gil was Uncle Gil, or maybe Grandpa Gil, or maybe Brother Gil, because he was part of the family. And that's a legacy that's hard to beat. People still talk about growing up with Gil Schreiner. He was my doctor. He was my pediatrician, and he was my son's pediatrician. And I hope he's around to be my grandson's pediatrician.
I just love the kids, you know. They're so straightforward. There's no hidden feelings. If they don't really care for you, they promptly kick you.
Marvelous sense of humor. One of the most conscientious fellows that I've ever known in pediatrics. He not only looked after his patients, he hovered over them like a guardian angel.
We all valued his willingness to teach. He won Teacher of the Year multiple times. I think he's always believed in a legacy of the next generation of doctors, and that's something he really, really invested in. You don't get paid to go to grand rounds. You don't get paid to sit in a morning report and teach residents. I didn't pay him a cent, and he was there because that's what he thought was the next generation. And you can't put a value on that. That's an unbelievable commitment. And long, long after he is not directly teaching, what he taught will continue to be taught.